And we're live. Hey everyone. So the chat was
Hello.
already buzzing there even before we started. So I thought of coming early. And hey everyone, how all you are doing? So I can already see Yash here. Hi Yash. And I can see Simon here. So hi Simon.
I'm everywhere.
Yeah, I can see you there in the comments as well. Nice. Hi, Raghav. And thank you so much for joining us. And I think we have some peeps over here. But thank you so much for joining us today. And we have a very special guest with us, Stephen Simon. And hi, Simon. Hi, Simon. How are you?
Wait, so my name is, I'm confused like half of the world with my name. Is it like Simon? Is it like Steven? I don't know. I think my stage name is Simon, but my first name is Steven, but I like to be called like Simon. So that's how it goes. So thank you everyone. Thank you everyone for joining. This looks pretty exciting. I have been following your hackathon events on social media platforms. An amazing work that you guys and girls are doing. Really excited to about today's show, and I'm kind of stunned on how you guys and girls do it actually. From a college, you are in college, you have your exams, still you people do it, and I already see many people joining in and commenting this. So welcome everyone. But yeah, excited, and let's see how it goes.
Yes, but I think the one reason that we all are able to do it, even being in college, is because of this pandemic, everything is online. Our studies are online. That also means our exams are online.
Oh
But I hope
wow! I wish I had that.
I hope none of my teacher will ever just see the stream. But yeah. So I think everything is made possible because of that. But for
Mhm.
all those people who are here, thank you so much for joining. And let me give you all a quick introduction about Simon. So Simon works as the regional community director from C Sharp Corner, and I've already seen his streams. He goes live almost every day, I think, on C
Yeah.
Sharp Corner Live, and that's freaking amazing because live streams can be a lot of fun, but at the same time, when you have to do that all day, every day, it kind of
Yeah.
becomes that consistency needs to be appreciated over here. But yeah,
Yeah, so we do a lot of live streams. Yeah, that's honest. And we actually even started with the pandemic when the pandemic hit when we started at C Chef Corner. We actually had these offline chapter events that we did. Now when the pandemic hit, we couldn't do it, so we took things online and it grew exponentially. We actually built a platform around it, and now we do conferences and all that. So yeah, it has been a blessing in disguise for us.
that's amazing. And as someone just mentioned, which also made me bring that to notice, that you have a laughing emoji behind you.
Yeah, just please stay towards the end of the show. I'm gonna bring that, right? I'm gonna bring that towards, or even in the live show, right? And we
Awesome.
could
So
also
I
do a
won't.
giveaway. Yeah.
So yeah, I won't take a lot of your time, and I think I'll just add your screen over there, and you can proceed with the session.
All right, that makes sense. Okay, so do I start? That's amazing. Thank you everyone for joining today. Right. So you want to say add something, Kushi?
Yeah, I was just saying you can start now. I'll just go and move at the back end, and I'll keep you updated with any questions at the end.
Yeah. All right. Makes sense. Thank you. Thank you, Kushi. So welcome everyone. My name is Steven Simon. I go by the stage name is Simon. In next 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, or 60 minutes, or maybe even 20 minutes, we're going to talk about Azure AI. It's going to be a really, really interesting topic. I already see people joining in. Raghav says, oh, I just noticed that laughing emoji behind the scene. Yeah. So that is something I always like to keep it in my background. But there are a few things that I'll bring from my background and show it towards the end of the show. So please stay tuned. So, all right, so let's get started. So, as you can see, the title is Who's Who in Azure AI. I don't have any introduction slides for me because I believe Kushi and the team has done an amazing job to introduce me. So, the topic is Who's Who in Azure AI, and let's actually think that why at the very first place I chose this topic. Okay, so I'm gonna bring my browser. Okay, so this is actually an edge, but it looks like Chrome, right? It's an edge, but it looks like Chrome. So if I actually go ahead and search for Azure, which I think I'll have to zoom it, if I go ahead and search in Azure and click on the second link, there's a build going on, right? There's a Microsoft build going on, so definitely go ahead and check that out. If I go to products and then click on see all 200 plus products. So you can already see that Azure has many products. I still remember when I started my journey with Azure, it was then called Windows Azure, and some of the very primary features that they launched was SQL Server instances. So now they have really grown a lot. I'm talking somewhere around 2013 and 14 when things really started to pick up the pace. Now, when I come to this Azure products, right, and when I just scroll down, can you see, and I have a title, right? So I've selected AI plus machine learning, which is by default when you select it. Can you see the number of products that you get, like anomaly detector, Azure bot services, cognitive services, machine learning, computer vision, content moderator, form recognizer, face, custom vision, computer vision, Q&A maker, text analysis. There are so many products that you can go ahead and start using it. And when I wanted to start my journey with this Azure AI, I was pretty lucky enough to have a head start because then there were not many of the products out there. One of the primary products you could classify back in old days was cognitive services and Azure Machine Learning Studio. But now, if you see, it has grown a lot. So, some of the challenges that some of you may face when you want to go ahead and get started with Azure Machine Learning is to actually figure out how to get started and what are the products that you should learn. So this is what exactly today's session is about. Okay. All right. So let's move to the next slide. That's let's set up the pace and see what you should actually expect from this session. Right. That is super important. So we're gonna lay the foundation knowledge of machine learning, AI related to Microsoft technologies. Now, if you come from if you have a basic knowledge of machine learning, this would be a perfect session for you to get started. Whereas if you do not know anything about machine learning, this may not be the best session, to be honest. Whereas if you are interested to learn machine learning, but you want to get started from the Azure ecosystem, then this is the best session. So if you are a beginner or if you have intermediate knowledge for machine learning, then this is the perfect session for you. And what else? So I have curated this next 35 to 40 minutes. That's around, we're going to cover topics that will help you to go ahead and prepare for your Microsoft certification exam. More specifically, if you focus for next 35 minutes, I am sure that you will have a decent knowledge to go ahead and schedule your Azure AI fundamental exam. So fasten your seatbelts, keep your comments coming in. Anything, you can comment on anything. You can ask, why am I wearing a red t-shirt? You can talk about the books that I have in my background. So let's keep it rolling. All right. So when you think of Azure AI, right? So when you think of Azure AI, and when I had that the Azure products page, which I will bring it once again, if when you have this Azure products page, you can actually go ahead and divide all these products into 5 major categories. Okay, so when you look at this, you might get confused, but looking at all this product of Azure AI and machine learning, you can actually divide them into 5 major categories. It may cover all of them or it may not cover. So the first one is actually machine learning. Now, I need not tell you what exactly machine learning is. It is something that has to do with mathematics, algorithms, finding the relation between independent variables and dependent variables, for looking for some predictive values. That's what the overview of machine learning is. But having said that, you can also do machine learning in the Azure. Now, what is the benefit actually? Now, you do know that when you perform this machine learning, there's a lot of computation required. And if you try to do it in your local system, um, you can do it, but maybe not on enterprise level. You want to save your time. You don't want to just reserve your local system and get away from your other important tasks. So that is when this Azure comes into play for machine learning. Now, for this Azure AI, machine learning is humongous, right? I'm going to cover machine learning towards the end of the session, right? Because machine learning has auto ML, it has then the canvas, it has ML ops, it has pipelines, it has Jupyter notebooks. So machine learning design has a lot of tools in it. So we're going to cover that briefly towards the end of the show. Okay. Then coming up next is the anomaly detection. Now, this, if you go and just search for a literature meaning of anomaly, what it actually means is something that is unusual, right? Something that doesn't follow the pattern of the data. For instance, one of the very famous data sets that you would definitely like to go and check it out for anomaly detection is the credit card fraud. I mean, this is something that I started, and these are some of the fundamental and go-to data sets that you want to try once you're getting started with machine learning. So a credit card fraud detection is a data set that you can go ahead and perform anomaly detection. So if you want to find out something that is not usually in your data set, something that is not very common happening in your data set, you want to go ahead and use anomaly detection. Now we're going to go each one of them in details, especially for computer vision, NLP, and conversational AI. But for anomaly in machine learning, I'm going to keep it towards the end, and I'll give an overview. All right. I see many more people joining in. Yeah, if you guys hear me, which you actually hear me, if you are smart and beautiful like I am, which I am actually, drop your location in the comments. Tell me which programming language do you work right now? Is it Python? Is it C++? Is it C? Is it C sharp? Is it Java? Let me know in the comments which programming language you are working these days, and maybe what you plan to learn next. Okay, then the next one that we have is the computer vision. Now, computer vision is a very vast product, or you can say a domain, if you can think of. It involves analyzing your text, what your text says, and broadly speaking, if you think of an image are at the end of the day, it is a matrix, pixels. Now, which pixels are actually matrices, right? So we're gonna go in deep to this NLP again. Azure provides some amazing NLP services that you can go ahead and use it. You can have a sentiment analysis entities. We're also going to look at in towards in the later half, and then also we have conversation AI that allows you to go ahead and make chatbots and Q&A. So that's what we're gonna cover in this. Now, if you understand all these five things, right? If not five, if you just even ignore anomaly detection, which is just one of the services there, if you just understand these five, I promise you will be able to crack the Azure AI fundamental exam. Now, I see Raghav saying, I'm currently working with C Sharp for Unity. Absolutely amazing, Raghav. I really love Unity. And you know what? Back in 2015 and 16, 2014, 15, 16, I remember I used to work with C Sharp and Unity, and I did really made some game. Then they also had programming language support of Bool and JavaScript. I don't know what has happened now, but that's absolutely amazing that you are working on C Sharp, and that specifically for Unity. There's some really amazing market out there, and kudos that that you're working on it. So I already see Harshvardhan saying, what is Azure? What we have to do in Azure AI? So Harshvardhan, that's a really a nice question. What is Azure? So Azure is cloud computing. Now you will ask me, what is cloud computing? Cloud computing is nothing else but someone else's computer. Exactly. Cloud computing is a myth. Azure is a myth. There's nothing called cloud computing, right? It's actually running your services on someone else's computer. Now, for instance, let me spend a minute over here. For instance, that if you want to run a website, if you want to have a website that you expect everyone should be able to access it from across the globe, right? You're making a website and you want everyone to access it. So what you can do is that you can have all the files of a website, all the images, text, and all that in your local system, in your laptop, right? And connect your laptop to an internet connection and power it 24/7. And when someone hits your website, for example, harshvardhan.com, they visit your the network pings your laptop, fetches all the data, and then displays it. Now, this is what something people really did it for a long time or in the early days. But there are possibilities, Harsh, that if you are doing in this way, you may have some power issues. The power may go away. You may not have a stable internet connection. Your laptop may stop working. So what companies like Azure, AWS, Google, IBM, and many other services like even GoDaddy, Namecheap, what they did is they created many computers. Actually, they installed many computers with a very good computational power at their end. And what they said that, hey, if you want to host a website, please, I'm going to allow you to rent a space. Now, for instance, if you need 2 gig of space and 256 MB of RAM, it's kind of computer where you want to add all the files of your website, you can just add those files on their computer, right? And they will take care of all the security, networking, bandwidth, the power, and will make sure that your website is all up and running. So the nutshell is Azure is a cloud computing platform by Microsoft, and it is one of the most trustworthy services out there. I have seen Microsoft doing an amazing stuff with this. So definitely go ahead and check it out. Azure has some of the credits for the students. You can go ahead and grab that offer, use it for free, and I hope that answers. I think just like Drive or some sort of hosting. Yeah, exactly. Just like Drive or some sort of hosting. All right, so let's move next. That was about the. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna have to put my screens over here. Let me adjust. Perfect. Okay. Now, let's first start talking about the computer vision in Azure, right? I'm going to talk about machine learning and anomaly towards the end, but let's talk about computer vision. It's pretty interesting, right? That's the one I chose it to get started. So, what you can actually do with computer vision, you can actually interpret an image and suggest appropriate captions. Now, we are going to look examples for each one of them, right? So, if you provide an image, you can suggest some captions on it, right? And what does caption really helps, or text. If the image won't load on a web page, the alt text really helps people to understand. And also for immersive reading for blind people and all, these texts are really helpful. You can also have a relevant tags indexed to an image that really helps for the search engine. You can categorize your image depending upon whether it is a celebrity image, it's a food image, it's a transport. You can also identify it. For instance, if you take a picture of a city, you can tell if there's a skyscraper or there's a cloud or there's a cab there. You can also detect faces and people on image. And I think if you have been using Facebook, which I do believe you use it, I don't use Facebook a lot these days. I'm more on Instagram person. So if you use Facebook, you might have seen that if there was an image uploaded back in 2014, Facebook would start sending you a notification that, hey, this picture might include you, which is actually your facial recognitions. Then Microsoft does give you a particular service on recognizing celebrities and landmarks. For instance, if you want to recognize a Microsoft logo or an Eiffel Tower, India Gate, those pre-built categories are already there. So that's also you can do that. And plus you can read text in an image with read API or text API, which we're definitely going to cover. So Pratmesh says, since there are so many services available in Azure, how to decide what should we learn and which service to use in Azure? All right, exactly. Azure is so humongous, Pratmesh, right, that it really gets confusing. Even in today's session, Pratmesh, so what we're actually talking is we have picked a particular domain, right? In this session, we have picked the domain for Azure AI and machine learning. And even in that, we have around 20-25 products. Now, if you want to decide what you want to learn in Azure, what you should actually do is first fix your mind on what technology you want to focus. You will have to find your niche that, hey, whether you want to move into web development, whether you want to move into mixed reality, or you want to move into DevOps, you want to move into developer technologies, you want to move into something else, right? So once you decide on what domain or what once you find your niche, then you go to Azure and then start looking around the different products that you want to get started. So step one, find your niche. Step two, go to Azure and look at the products that Azure has listed around it. Right? Okay, cool. So, okay, thanks, cool. All right, let's go ahead and now look at the computer vision. It's gonna be I'm telling you, just fasten your seatbelt. There's gonna be a lot of content coming in. So yeah, just focus, focus. Oh, I'm so lonely. All right. So when you think of having a computer vision, right? So if you want to have if you want to, I should say, if you want to perform computer vision on Azure, you get two options, right? You get two options. The first one is when you log into Azure portal. It means when you go to Azure and once you have created the account, just the way when you log into Facebook, you get all your Facebook page details, your newsfeed. In the same way, when you go to Azure, you have an option to go ahead and log in, right? And as I said in the beginning, if you are a student, you get an option to actually use Azure for free. You don't even need a credit card. You can just put your school ID, email, and or maybe your ID card, and you can get started. So if you want to perform computer vision on Azure, you get two options. First, that you either just pick computer vision inside the Azure portal, you just search computer vision, uh, or you use cognitive services. Now, which one to use when? Now, if you want to use just computer vision, right? If you don't want to do some text analysis, if you don't want to involve any of the bot services, if your product is just limited to having computer vision, then you should select the computer vision product. Whereas if you want that, hey, not just I want to analyze my images, I also want to perform some natural language processing. Now that is kind of an ecosystem of cognitive, right? Now you're not just performing images, you're also performing NLP. You may also want to go ahead and build a bot around it. In that case, you want to pick cognitive services. So cognitive services is the superset of all the major AI products that you can do in Azure. Whereas if you just want to stick to one, you should be choosing computer vision. And this is the question that you will get a lot if you want to prepare for Azure AI certifications. So welcome Kunal, welcome Saesh. Hi Samuel, thanks for joining. And so he says, sorry, I meant which to use in project and things. Okay, I'll get back to keep your questions coming in. And yeah, I mean, you know what? I really like to work on this IoT stuff too. Before the call, I was actually working on it. There's Arduino, Raspberry Pi, and you can, if you want to go ahead and also do some IoT stuff, we can do some amazing stuff on Azure. I really love Azure. I've been selling Azure. Okay, so first, so when it comes to computer vision, you can actually divide it into two or three parts, right? You can actually go ahead and do a lot of stuff with computer vision. The first thing that you can actually do is analyze images. So inside analyze images, you can do again a lot of stuff. The first one that you can actually do is describing an image. Now, on your right hand side that you see is actually an image of. Can you tell me which city it is? Come on, guys. Come on, guys and girls. Which city is this? Which city is this? Okay. Uh, which city is picture? Oh my goodness, my English is so bad. Oh, NYC. People who are saying it. Yes, exactly. It's New York. Have you heard the song New York? Concrete jungle where the dreams are made up. It's a beautiful city. Now, what happens is when you go ahead and yeah, exactly, it's New York. So when you go ahead and give this image to Azure Computer Vision, you can actually get a description of that image, which will eventually help you to create some alt text or captions. Now, it has the ability to analyze image, evaluate the objects that are directed, and generate human readable phrase or sentence that can describe what was detected in the image. Now, in this example, you can see on the left hand side when we ran this, when we gave this image to computer vision cognitive service, it said that there's a black and white photo of the city, which makes sense. There's a black and white photo of a large city, which is also good, and a large white building in a city. Now, I'm not 100% sure on which building he's saying, the service is saying, but most probably it might be this one or this one. So you see, you gave an image to the computer vision or the cognitive service, and it returned you the human readable sentence. Now, depending upon the image content, the service may return multiple results or phrase. and each returned phrase will have an associated confidence score indicating how confident the algorithm is in the supplied description. The highest confident phrase will be listed first. Now, what does actually mean? When the okay, how do I do that? Okay, perfect. Ooh, 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 ooh. No, how can I do that? All right. Okay, never mind. Mm-mm-mm. I'm losing it. I'm losing my slides. Okay, so the first one is actually when you get the sentences right. The first one, every sentence comes with with a confidence value. So I believe for this sentence, right, for this sentence, actually, the first sentence, the confidence would be high, whereas for the last sentence, that is a large white building in a city, the confidence may be low because it is quite a generic statement to give, right? So Samuel says, "I won, right?" Yeah, and yeah. So you want something? I don't know what you want. Please ask Kushi. They should be giving away something. I don't know. Maybe stay tuned towards the end. Right? They may have some goodies. I don't know. I cannot commit. Okay, the next one is actually tagging visual features. So inside the analysis of your image, you can actually tag it. Now, tagging really helps for your SEOs. Now, if you give the same image, right, it would give you three tags. The first one is skyscraper, the second one is tower, and the third one is building, which definitely makes sense. Now, this is actually generated by computer vision, which are based on thousands of recognizable objects which can be used to suggest tags for the images. Now you might say, Simon, that how is it anyway happening, right? We just gave up the image and how the Azure is able to give us all these details. The answer is that Azure has already trained millions and millions of images for you. It has done all the tough tasks of computation, categorization, and all you need to do, training, modeling, everything, Azure has done it for you. And all you have to do is to pass the image. How beautiful is that? Right? So even if you don't come from an Azure, even AI machine learning background, if you learn how to use this APIs and all the services, you are definitely going to have an edge on all the others. Okay, let's move to the next one is the object detection. Now, the detection is similar to tagging in that service can identify common objects, but rather than tagging or providing tags for the recognized objects only, this service can also return what is known as bounding box coordinates. Not only you will get the type of objects, but you will also receive set of coordinates that indicates the top, left, width, height of the objects, which you can use to identify the location objects in the image like this. Now, I would really love this kind of detecting objects because when I do this, it not only detects that hey, this is a tower or this is a building. This also give me a boundary line. So, for instance, have you seen those videos on LinkedIn or on videos where people create a project where that is about the vehicle detection, that how many vehicles have passed, was this a bike, was this a car, usually in the traffic light, right? So all those projects that people make are, that are actually object detection projects. And if you want to do that on Azure, you don't have to do anything. You just have to pass the image, and Azure will give you a JSON response or something that you prefer. It would most probably it would give you a JSON response, and then you can just add AI capabilities in your apps. Okay, what is okay? Gaurav is saying, uh, okay, what is Microsoft Azure used for? Oh my goodness, right? Microsoft Azure is used for everything, right? It is used for every digital product that I can imagine. It is used to run games. It is used to host a website. It is used to mix reality. It is used to run Microsoft Build conference. And in fact, maybe if I'm not wrong, even Flipkart uses Azure. Yes, I do remember back in 2015 when Satya visited here in India, the CEO of Flipkart then had an event. Where did I go to? They did talk about the Flipkart adopting Microsoft Azure. So if you are visiting Flipkart, even the part of Flipkart services uses Azure. Okay. All right. Keep your comments coming in. Mintra uses Azure. I don't know that. Aditya says cognitive services is love. Yes, cognitive services is love. I did have a hard soft toy, but it's not there. Never mind. All right, let's get to the business. Get back to the slides. I think we're already in at 30 minutes. I will take another 20 minutes, and towards then I'll leave for the Q&A. Detecting brands, how amazing! I have the laptop too. Let me make you jealous. You can actually detect brands, right? So if there's a logo, or if there's a famous building, India Gate, Taj Mahal, you can actually detect that. And I have a Surface Pro. I love it. You know, I love it. I didn't buy it. You know what? I didn't buy it. Someone gave it to me. My boss gave it to me. So thank you, Mahesh Chan, right, for giving me this laptop. Even Aditya has it, right? Even Aditya has some of the really amazing Microsoft products. So Microsoft Learn partners. Sorry, Microsoft Learn ambassadors. You people rock. I was a part of that program too. I love it. Uh, all right, this says they gave Mitra vouchers in the Magic Cup this time. Oh, really? That is definitely. Oh my goodness, did they really give Mitra vouchers? I didn't expect that. That's great. Uh, Microsoft is changing. What Microsoft was in 2011 and 12 from 2014, it has changed a lot, and I just love being a part of that community. All right, that was about detecting brands, and you can also detect faces. Now, I know how tough it can be in the facial recognition, right? So, in some really, even in India, people have been using face recognitions a lot. And if you don't want to spend time in all the computation and training sets, the testings, data sets, right? If you don't want to spend time on that, just call an API from the Azure Cognitive Services, and it will detect, analyze, tell you where the face is in an image, and at the same time, it will also tell you the age, right? Now, this is a quite basic service. If you want to perform a lot of more stuff on a facial recognition, Microsoft has dedicated service that's called a face service. Definitely go and check it out. It is a very in-depth service that you can perform on face. It may also tell if person is happy, their emotions, and all that. So definitely go and check out the face services too. Okay. Now, the final one that I did say is actually detecting domain object specific. You can detect celebrities, landmarks, and again, unlike all others, it is going to give you the percentage score of whatever you detect. Now, until now, we have been just doing the images, right? And the images, it's still not over because, to be honest, by this time, I have covered 5 to 6 different products on Azure that I actually showed you in the beginning. So if you now go to that Azure products page, which I'm going to pull it once again, this one. So we have covered a lot from here. We have actually covered the computer vision one. Yes, we talked about the face, and going forward, we're also going to cover a lot from here, right? So yeah, that's great. Let's go ahead. Let me see what other. A student life says, I love Azure. I love Azure too. Azure actually hosts computer vision or has the library of computer vision. Hmm. So here, I'm not sure. Okay, let me answer this. Azure actually hosts computer vision. Okay, so Azure has actually, so there are two scenarios, right? There are two scenarios. If you don't want to train it, if you want to use pre-built models, if you want to use just plug and play, right? So Microsoft has trained many images, right, for you. It has trained for you. If you want all the things that we talked about, detection, the object detection, the categorization, the face detection, the celebrity, Eiffel Tower, everything that we have discussed now, if you want to use that, you need not need any data science background to do that, right? So it does have some inbuilt that they have done all the processing. Whereas when you say or has the library of computer vision, let me put it in this way. Maybe if you, I'm going to come back to this. I'm just going to come back to the next slide on this topic. Is that when you want to do a face detection, you can use the previous service. That was this one. But if you want to do a face detection for your college, all the students in a college, or you want to do a face detection of custom images, right? How would you do that? Even for that, Azure provides some of the resources that is called custom vision. We're going to come back to that, right? We'll come back to it. If extra sends one to us, life the surface range is great for right, right. Yeah, all right. Let's go ahead and let's talk about the classification, right? If we are at 35 minutes now, we're doing good with the time. Classification of the images. Now, data science machine learning can be broadly classified into a classification, anomaly detection, regressions, and all that, right? So I'm not going to go in depth to it. But if you want to do classification in Azure, Microsoft gives you an amazing services to do it. You don't have to spend any time. And here is the most classical vintage example of classification. Is Iris dataset back in 2011 and 12. Even solving this data set was very challenging. But so, for example, you have three different flowers, right? This is a very basic one, but still very fundamental. You're given three different flowers, right? And in every flower, there are petals, right? And for every petals, you are given the length, right? And for instance, you have 1,000 records for it. Now, when you have all these details, your task is to actually figure out which flower belongs to which category. Now, for example, the feature of a flower might include the measurements of the petal or the stem, sepals, or other quantifiable characteristics. A machine learning model could be trained around it by applying an algorithm, which is beyond the scope of this session, to these measurements that calculate most likely species for the flowers that is called class. Now, for instance, hey, here's a pretty easy example. You go to a school for an admission, right? And there are different classes, class 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now, when you go to a school, do they just put you in fifth standard or in seventh standard, like without any test, right? So they actually take your admission test, right? They take your admission test, and if you want to go to sixth standard, they will give you an exam for a fifth standard, right? That, hey, do you qualify for sixth? If you go for a 10th standard, they'll give you an exam for ninth standard. So different classes in school are actually the class, and when you as an individual go to go take admission, you write an exam. So then when you write an exam, then you are classified, right? And those classes are actually classified itself. For a person who is sitting in class 5th has certain skill set, and a person who is sitting class 12 has a certain skill set. The school has already divided different class with a different skill set. That was the classification, right? And when a student comes in, you can also give to that. That's the basic idea. So you can actually do this exactly same in the Azure, and you don't have to write even a single line of code, right? So you can definitely detect bananas, apple, orange. These are the again pretty famous examples. And at the end of the day, as I said in the beginning, that images are pixels. Pixels are your matrices, and it can be matrices are again your let me go a little technical, numpy arrays, and then your arrays can be of different dimensions and matrices arrays. And then things goes, you can reshape it, you can change the dimensions and all that, you can perform multiplication. So at the end of the day, images are pixels, pixels are matrices, matrices are numbers, and if they are numbers, you can perform mathematical calculations on it. All right. Oh, next one. So if you want to perform the custom vision, right? If you want to train your own image on Azure, right? Again, you're given two options. Either you can use custom vision, an individual product that where you can build your training and prediction, or both the resources. I mean, you can create both training and both prediction resources over there. Whereas again, if you plan to use cognitive services, right? That is inside the custom vision. You can also do some other stuff like NLP and all that. So but from a bird eye perspective, if you just want to do custom vision, pick the custom vision product. Whereas if you want to do a lot more after you complete with the custom vision, you would prefer like to do the cognitive services. It's kind of different when you opt for cognitive services. They actually divide your training sets and testing sets, whereas in the custom vision, it is all clubbed in a one resource. So you definitely want to make sure which one you pick. And the most easiest one is to actually use the cognitive services for both training and prediction, because then you only need to be concerned yourself with an endpoint, that is an HTTP request at which your services is hosted, and just a key, that is secret value by client applications to authenticate themselves. So I would prefer cognitive services because that's an entire ecosystem of AI that Azure provides. So yeah, that's one for this. There are many more products in the computer vision. For example, OCR and Form Recognizer using for receipts. For instance, if you want to go ahead and read a bill, right? If there's a bill, right? Bill. If you want to take the details out of the bill, if there's an image, you want to pick up the values, the GST number, the restaurant name or the vendor name. You can also do that. Microsoft does have one of the products for it. In the same way, you can also perform OCR. Now with OCR, you can use it to pick up number plates and all that. But remember, what is something very important with the form recognizer is it only works with US receipts, right? It only works with United States and maybe one more country, couple of more countries, but it is not a globally accepted now. I mean, they have not trained much. I hope they do it. So definitely go and check that out. There are many amazing data sets available to test. So I believe that should help. All right. Mm, yeah, this is what services do we have in Azure Cognitive Services that supports video streams? Oh my goodness, I know this answer. I know this answer. Hold on, so there are definitely video indexers and all, right? So I believe Aditya, you definitely know it. There are some video indexers that you can use it to tag and all that. But I definitely want to specifically to Aditya to you. I definitely want to tell you an amazing resource that you can use for all your virtual conferences. If I cannot get it in this live show, I'll definitely join behind the scenes somewhere in the Twitter. I'll definitely tell you. That will help you stream your live shows using Azure services. That's an absolutely amazing service. You guys and girls have the subscription. So glad that you brought that up. I'll definitely reach out to you. That will help you in the streaming. You're gonna love that product from Azure. I bet. It says, can we link it with AI/ML model we created in Python, some sort of services? Well, you can actually do it. There's some amazing, they're all Azure SDKs available, right? Azure machine learning SDKs available. You just need to go ahead and install it. And in fact, these SDKs and with Visual Studio Code, they are so beautiful that you don't even have to go to Azure, right? Inside the Visual Studio, you can log into your Azure portal. You can run your Jupyter notebooks over there, create your data science instances, and write your Python codes and do and call the APIs. And yeah, so yeah, you can actually do it. Just hit Azure ML SDK. I really love it. I like to use it. Let me know if you want me to do a demo next time. Okay. Right, we are at 43 minutes. Oh my goodness. Please register for hackon.hackerearth.com and tweet us at hackonearth, hackon hackathon, #hackathon. Join discord.hackon.tech. Oh my goodness, there's so many hackon. All right, now let's move to a very interesting session that is interesting section that Azure does provide is the natural language process in Azure. Now you can actually analyze text, right? And analyzing text is a process where you actually evaluate different aspects of documents or phrase in order to gain insights into a content of the text. Now, for most of the parts, humans are able to read some text and understand meaning behind it, even without considering the grammar rules or the languages the text is written in specific insights, and at the same time, even understands the emotions of the text. Now, that is something that we humans can do because kind of we also have trained our brain right from we were born, right? That's how we are trained it. As an example, you might read some text and identify some key phrases that indicate some of the talking points of the text. For instance, when I'm speaking, you are actually able to understand what I say, right? So you are actually able to pick the important words from the sentences. You might also recognize people's well-known landmarks when someone writes it that, hey, this is Taj Mahal or Eiffel Tower. When someone writes it, you can understand, hey, that this is a popular place. And many a times you may be even confused that, hey, what this sentence is about. So even after all this training of your brain, you may be not 100% confident in what you do. So there comes the Azure Natural Language Processing, and Microsoft has some. Now take the screenshot, right? Take the screenshot of this one, everyone. Let's make a funny face. So take a screenshot of this. It's a pretty significant slides that just summarizes all about natural language processing on Azure. What you can do is you can actually first detect the languages of the text. It is French, it is English, it is Hindi, it is Chinese, it is Spanish, it is Latin. So if you give a text and use of this text analysis services in Azure, you can actually detect which language that text is. And again, for all this, Azure does give you the confidence value, and that is what is different from the previous versions, or you can say the old methodology of machine learning, where we didn't have the confidence, right? And that's what machine learning has picked up. That it tells you the confidence level of the value it has predicted. So that really helps you decide whether it is good to go ahead and use those values. So I see many people joining in. I'm going to come back uh, to the comments and come to the slides. You can perform sentiment analysis on text to determine positive or negative sentiments. Exactly true. You can figure out on whether Simon is posting good things on Twitter, whether he's posting, whether the way he's saying, is it happy or is it not. So you can also do that with the text. Reviews of restaurants, right? The reviews that you give on Zomato or on Swiggy, they use a lot of this the sentiment analysis to check whether the reviews are positive or negative. Extract key phrases from the text and also identify and categorize text such as date, time, quantities, and so on. So all that we can do without even our human brain training, without any of the training, the computer, this cognitive services can also do that. Um, it's just that you have to pay for it, right? Machines are dumb, so you have to pay for that. All right. Oh, we're running out of time. Oh my goodness, I need to quickly complete things. I thought and I would be able to do it, but I need to run fast. Okay, Azure resources for text analysis. Again, it gives two options. The first, either you can use text analysis, the individual one, or you could just use Azure Cognitive Services, which is again the entire ecosystem of the cognitive services that Microsoft provides. Okay, let's run language detection. You can actually do that. So the example here is for example, we are given three examples. The first one is the review. A fantastic place for lunch. The soup was delicious. So when you actually look at it, you see the first one says it is the language is English. The code for that language is EN, and the score is how the score actually here is your sentiment analysis. If it is one, it means it is positive. If it is zero, then it means it is negative, right? So the score is one, which means this sentence is positive. Let's look at review two. Comido maravillosa y gran servicio. I can speak Spanish, right? Latino. Okay, so this language is Spanish. You can see the ISO code is ES and the score it has given 1.0. So I don't understand what this has said, but with this analysis, you can actually figure out that, hey, which language and what is the score. And in fact, if I'm not wrong, let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. I think you can also translate it. Yes, you can also translate your text into a different language. It is pretty much doable. And the last one is the Croak Moisture Aways British was terrific. Bon appetit. Now this one is it says it is English, but the score has come a little down. I'm not kind of sure that why it did pick English. I would have said it someone else. So you see, even after training, there are chances that your machine learning services may give you AI services may come up with some of the wrong answers. So nothing is perfect. Okay. Now, sentiment analysis, you can definitely do that. It actually tells you whether a sentence is positive or negative. We're using some of the stop words and all those that it does it for you. You don't have to worry anything about it. There's an example that just I tune in so that you can get it. Just I believe I will be giving this to the Hackon team. I'll give this on, maybe I'll put it on my GitHub. Yes, I'll put it on my GitHub so that I get a red dot. Sorry, I get a green dot. Right, I'll put it on my GitHub, or maybe just share with your organizers so that you can just download it. The reason I have so much text on these slides is because when you're preparing for this Azure AI certification, this is really going to help you out. And also, I have some notes in the slides. Key phrase extractions, you can actually go ahead and extract some of the important words or some of the meaningful text from the sentences. It It may be like food, dinner, table, time, ambience. I mean, that is what you get it from the example that is on the left hand side. Now, before we go ahead and move to the next section that is about building a bot, which is just going to take me 5 minutes, I want to pull up an amazing resource, right, that I don't want you all to miss it. That is the Azure Open Datasets. I really love this. I'm going to put this in the comments so that everyone can uh, visit this one. Okay, maybe the links are not allowed. Okay, it worked. Thanks to the organizers for putting the Azure links. That's amazing. Okay, the Azure Open Data Sets. So people often ask me, Simon, what is the best place to find the data sets? Now, my go-to place used to be Kaggle, then UCI, and UCI, that archive library, right? You just search it, UCI data sets. But when I figured out that Microsoft has released Azure Open Data Sets very recently, I believe towards the fourth quarter of last year. So what Microsoft has done it that you can actually use these Azure Open Data Sets inside your environment. You don't have to download anything. It may be a Titanic data set, it may be a Penguin data set, it may be the Iris data sets. All the data set what Microsoft has done is they have added all the data set in their ecosystem, and you don't have to download anything. So if you just go ahead and look at the documentation, you can also look for the samples, and it has some SDKs that you just need to go ahead and use it. So I personally use it a lot. You need not have any subscription of Azure to use it. Believe me, it's entirely free and works like a charm if you want to do it with your Azure SDKs in your local system and also in the Azure ML Designer. All right, that was what. Okay, building a bot. Everyone wants to build a bot. Why do you want to build a bot? The reason we want to build a bot is we want to create a more engaging experience on our platform. If you are a product-based companies and if you have customers, especially if you have a paying customers, you definitely want to give the best experience. Now, I do know we have call centers that really help us a lot, but in many of the cases, you really don't want to rely and talk to human, and whereas take the advantage to answer some of the really common questions. In that case, Microsoft gives you an amazing ecosystem of building a bot which has two options. Either you can use a Q&A maker, which is straightforward, and or maybe an Azure bot, which involves a lot of NLP. Okay. Okay. Now, to create a conversational AI, the two things that you need to have. First one is the knowledge base, and second one is the bot service. Now, a knowledge base is actually a set of question and answer. Now, if you come from a Python background, what I actually mean here is you have a dictionary that has some keys and values, right? Just the way you have keys and values in Python, if you want to go ahead and build a bot or a Q&A in Azure, you have to provide them a knowledge base that has a question and an answer related to it. Maybe if you can give multiple questions to multiple answer, your program would work much better. And then you need to figure out which bot services you want to use, whether you want to use Q&A Maker, whether you want to use Azure or bot framework, and all that. That's up to you. Which is actually the next slide. I'm running a little fast now, right? So Q&A Maker actually enables you to create and publish knowledge base with built-in NLP processing capabilities. You don't have to do anything. You just write all those questions and associated answers, define the entities in that Q&A, and Microsoft Azure would do all the tough tasks for you. Whereas if you want to have more control over your bots, Microsoft gives you the Azure bot services, which works like a charm on Azure. You don't even have to download anything. You can just spin it up on Azure and start using it. Or if you want more control on your bot services, once you spin up an Azure bot service on Azure, you can actually download a Visual Studio solution from the Azure and then start fine tuning it. You can also actually go ahead once you build a bot, you can post it to any of the channels. It can be your bots can be added on Telegram, Discord, Skype, Facebook, WhatsApp, and many other platforms. So I really loved it. Kids really use it in the hackathons, so definitely check that out. Now, before we go ahead and anything, what I really want to go ahead and say that we're running out of time. I just have 2 more minutes. So this session was more about having the Azure AI, right? I didn't touch much with the machine learning, but I definitely want you to go ahead and do that. And here's something that I'm going to give you an overview for the machine learning, right? So machine learning is humongous, right? Machine learning is humongous. Let me ask you one thing. Do you use notebooks? I believe you do use notebooks, right? Do you have data sets in your local system? I believe you do have data sets. Do you write Python scripts? I believe you do write Python scripts. Are you interested to move into DevOps? Right? If you do, if it is great. So all that I have said now can be done on Azure, right? Can be done on Azure, and all these services fall into this Azure machine learning service, right? It's a low code, no code approach where you can actually use the either on notebooks or on the Azure Machine Learning Designer, where you don't have to write in a single line of code, and you can start your machine, start to train your machine learning models, and also create endpoints. That is, create some web APIs, deploy it, have your own clusters, manage your pricing, instances, mm, your instances. Yeah, your instances, and that's where you can actually do it with Azure Machine Learning. So definitely go and check it out. It's all free if you are a student. So that is super super important. Uh, the next thing that I definitely want you to do it is search for Azure, not Azure, search for Microsoft exam, right? Search for Microsoft exam. No, I don't want that. No, 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 no. Microsoft certification. What am I searching for? Search for Microsoft certification. Visit this platform, and I'll tell you how I made this slides that you saw. I didn't create anything on my own. I actually went to this Microsoft Learn platform, and I went to the certification. I went, then I click on the certification dashboard, and oh my goodness, why is it asking me? That's sad. Okay, let me do over here. Mm, uh, oh, please, yeah, that works. I have certification, just click on it, right? And go to certification dashboard. I am level 800. Who's on more level? Right? Anyone on more level on that? Hmm. Go to Microsoft certification. Right? Why is it taking so long time to load? Oh my goodness. I hate this part. Click on Azure AI Engineer, right? And if you click on Azure, this one, if you click on Azure Certified Azure Fundamentals, just Google it, right? This is where I made my entire I made my entire presentation, right? I didn't write even a single line of light in my slides. This is from where I actually made it, right? So definitely go ahead and this Azure Fundamentals, not this one, and AI Engineer. Engineer associate yes, this one, A900, right? So you can definitely go ahead and check these tracks, right? I completed all of them. So I'm gonna put this link. So even if you don't want my slides, right, you can actually visit here. This is a go-to one. If you want to go ahead and learn more about the resources, definitely check that out. It's an amazing platform. I really miss Microsoft Virtual Academy. I miss that part. Christopher Harrison and Susan Blage, they were amazing, amazing person. So definitely go ahead and check this platform. It should be a go-to one. I have one scheduled towards the end of this weekend, and I have to prepare for that. Having said that, that was all from me in this session. Thank you everyone who has joined today. And yeah, happy, thank you. That's my Twitter handle on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And happy to have the organizers back. Where is the StreamYard? There we
Yeah,
go.
I'm here.
Hi, Christine.
Hi, I think the session is amazing. And to all the people who want to connect with Simon, because he was mentioning that on the last slide, we do have his credentials down there in the description box. So you can go and check them out as well and connect with
Yeah,
him. Because, yeah, it's awesome to be connecting with him. And it's quite funny that I actually approached him because I connected with him
yeah.
through the community. And collaboration is always awesome. So Simon was really nice to agree to
Don't
be
disclose my
collaborating with
location, right?
us.
Don't disclose my location.
No, I won't. But
Yes.
Simon, that was amazing, and
Thank
I
you.
think you have already answered all the questions in between the sessions. So you were kind of
Exactly.
multitasking, and that was that was pretty amazing. But I don't think we have any other question left because you were already
Hmm.
answering a lot of them in
Yep.
between the session. And we have so Prathamesh says that's really amazing.
Thanks,
Thank you
Pratmesh.
so
Thanks for
much.
joining in.
Yeah, we still have 18 people joining in. I think
Wow. We
people
have still 18
want to
people
see.
joining in. Hey, I don't want to. Okay, we have still. Let's. Okay. Don't judge me if I just stand up. I'm wearing shorts, right? Don't. I'm wearing shorts. It's virtual, right? Don't judge me.
Okay,
I'm going to go ahead and grab a couple of books from there. So please don't judge me. Okay.
I can remove you from the stream if you want, but it's okay. So I think Simon has something.
Ah, I say, no one saw my shots. Please don't judge me, guys. So, since everyone, there's a many people watching in, right? So, although this session was about more about Azure AI and all ecosystem, couple of books that has really helped me to go ahead to whatever machine learning that I learned. 80% of this comes from this book. I'm not promoting this is not sponsored content. So, 80% of this comes from this book that is Hands-on Machine Learning with Scikit-learn and TensorFlow. It's a pretty famous book, right? This is more inclined towards a practical approach. So if you
Right.
want to go ahead and get started with machine learning, right? And at the end, I would expect that you go ahead and write your code, because even if you use cognitive services, there might be some chances that you want to kind of trigger with those services and come with custom machine learning models. So definitely go ahead and read this book. The other one that I have is this one. This is a little on the advanced note. It is deep learning with Python. It's by one of the person who did work at Google for TensorFlow. So I definitely read this book and definitely go and check that out. Don't buy a pirated one. Don't buy a pirated one. Please buy it. Please buy it.
Yeah, we don't encourage piracy, so yeah, please go and actually give some credits to those people who have worked so hard to just, to just create these books, to create this type of amazing content. But yeah, that was pretty amazing. And saying like seeing deep learning with Python here, because I'm already a deep learning fan. I already quite do a lot of research on deep learning with Python, so I'm gonna read that as well now. So I've got
Yeah,
something to read. That's awesome.
that's
Other than Harry Potter, I think I have got something
oh
to
my
read now.
I love Harry Potter. I'm still gonna watch it again when I get time. But it's Instagram goes away. I'll watch that Harry Potter one. Yeah.
Yes.
I love
Yeah.
more Wingardium Leviosa.
But I like reading now more because I've seen all the movies and I'm just like into reading the books now. Started
Kids have
something
grown
good.
up. Kids have grown up. I would say that.
But
Uh,
awesome. I think before we take this conversation on to a whole another level, we should end the session over here.
yeah,
And we also have Pradeep with us. I think Pradeep works with you, right?
yeah. He was a Microsoft student partner from Nepal, right? And he has
Yeah.
been Microsoft World finalist for 2017 or 18. I don't remember, but he's an absolutely amazing person.
Hey, thank
Great
you
team
so much,
member.
Pradeep, for joining and staying until the end of the session. And Aditya says something.
I hate you, Aditya, for dropping this comment. I hate you. I hate you. Bye bye.
I
Right.
think
Let's end the stream.
right. So thank you so much everyone for joining. But before ending, we do have something. So as promised, we do have the participation certificates for all of you. And I'm also dropping in the link to this participation certificate in the chat. So you can just go and claim your certificates for attending the session from here.
Pradeep, go grab one. We need it. Pradeep, go grab one.
And yeah, I think this was pretty much it. Thank you so much, Simon, for joining us. This is pretty amazing. We should do this more. And I think for the next edition of HackOn, we'll do and we'll plan even something bigger. But thank
Yeah.
you so much, everyone, for joining. And you can find the link to the certificate once the stream ends. I'll put that up in the comment section. So you'll be able to find that there as well. And we'll go now. So we'll meet you again. And also, not to forget, we have the hackathon on this 28th of May. That is very close. We just the day after tomorrow. So make sure you all join us and we'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.
All right. Bye. Thank you everyone for joining. Ta-ra.